Hello everyone! We've been thinking and decided that it's time to share with you some more survival tips. We know we already had a few videos on this topic, but it's so extensive that all the time there's something new to say. So in this video, we're going to tell you the 10 rules of survival that can save your life one day. Let's get it on. Shelter in the forest. So imagine you're lost in the forest. No, you don't need to start shouting, "Hello!" at the top of your lungs right now. Just imagine this situation in your mind. You have a supply of water and some food, but it's starting to get dark, and you still have no idea where to go. Perhaps in such a situation it's better to stop for the night, isn't it? After all, in the dark, especially without a flashlight, you can easily stumble over some snag, crash into a tree, or even encounter an unfriendly forest inhabitant like a hungry wolf. Ugh. You decided to make a shelter, remembered your childhood, quickly built a hut or a small canopy from branches and sat down there, sleepy and quite happy with yourself. Well, why not? After all, you have protected yourself not only from the bad weather, but also from the cold. Everyone knows that lying under something, even if it's a canopy, is much warmer than in the open. But for some reason, in a couple of minutes it becomes cold. And the thing is that a forest shelter will save you from freezing only if you take care of a dense bedding. For example, a bed made from fir branches. Then you don't feel the cold from the ground and won't catch cold, and maybe even manage to sleep. Mosses and anthills. The night went well. You had a snack and are now determined to find a way out of this stupid forest. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, everything looks fine. You're enjoying the warm weather when suddenly a map pops up in your memory, and it becomes clear that to get out of the woods, you have to move straight to the north. But, where is the north? Oh right, you can identify the cardinal points by the moss growing on trees, or, well, by an anthill. So the green moss should be on the north side of the tree trunk, and the ant settlements, on the contrary, facing south. And everything would be fine, if not for one but. These rules don't really work. Yes, the moss doesn't care on which side it does grow, and the ants never had a compass, so they built their cities wherever they want to. In general, if you need to understand where you are, it's better to use some other way. For example, you can try to recall where the sun rose. Starvation. You've been wandering through the forest for a long time now. You're tired and rather quickly spent all of your water supply. Of course, it's a little sad, but not so terrible, because you still have a few chocolate bars and a bag of chips in your backpack. Now you'll have a quick bite and then you'll go to find a source of water. But stop, you shouldn't eat, because the more you eat, especially salty or sweet food, the more liquid your body needs. Yes, in extreme situations a person can survive without food if he or she has water, but it doesn't work the other way around. Therefore, don't eat if you're not sure that you can satisfy your thirst, otherwise it can lead to very sad consequences, and pretty soon. It's better to endure hunger until there's some water on the horizon. Believe us, it can really save your life. Sandstorm. Even if you live far away from the desert, it's always helpful to know what to do when a huge sand wall approaches, and we're not overreacting. A sandy or dusty storm looks like this from the outside. Unfortunately, this natural phenomenon is one of the most terrible and unpredictable, because it's not just about the wind. It's a wind that raises many small particles of sand into the air. This is not only very, very unpleasant and even painful, but also dangerous for your lungs. A person caught in a dense dust cloud can easily suffocate. Therefore, you need to know a few simple rules. First of all, you need to protect your nose and mouth. You should use a special respirator or a mask, but an ordinary bandana or any other piece of cloth wrapped around your face will do. Yes, just like the bandits in old Wild West movies. Also, it'll be useful to moisten the cloth with water and put on airtight protective goggles. But if you don't have them, cover your face with your hands and don't forget to wrap a piece of cloth around your head to protect your ears. If the storm is not accompanied by lightning and you don't see cars flying around you, then you can wait until it ends on any elevation, because the concentration of sand is much lower there. Well, if there are no hills nearby, try to hide behind something big like a stone or a camel. This isn't a joke. Camels really are perfectly tolerant to sandstorms and won't object. Air crash. If you're terribly afraid of flying in airplanes and are already scared, then you shouldn't be. According to the data, the chance to die in a plane crash is 1 to 11 million, whereas, for example, in a car accident, it's 1 to 5,000. So it turns out it's much safer to fly than to drive a car. We hope we haven't caused you a new phobia for cars. But anyway, in an emergency on board, always follow the instructions of the flight attendants and do what's written in the brochures that lie in the pocket of the chair in front of you. And remember the rule of the 90 seconds. If after the fall of the plane you manage to leave the cabin during this time, your chances of survival will increase significantly. In other words, the faster you evacuate, the better for you. So don't panic, because running in chaos between the chairs is unlikely to help you. Don't go far. Well done. Now you've got out of the plane and can take a look around. You're now in some strange jungle and the landscape isn't familiar, so neither you nor other survivors have any idea of where you are now. Of course, in this situation, it's necessary to remember all the lessons of survival, how to find a source of water and collect food, but after this you have to return to the plane. After all, a huge damaged aircraft is seen much better from the air than a Robinson Crusoe's modest camp. Today, rescuers know how to find fallen planes quite quickly, so if you stay near the crash site, rescuers are going to find you. Oh yeah, a small exception. If the fallen plane is burning, it's better to move away from it to a safe distance. Who knows what could happen? Cotton clothes. Surely you know that clothes made from natural fabrics like cotton or linen are the best thing in any weather. They let your body breathe in the heat, but it warms you in the cold, so it's absolutely universal. However, once this cloth gets wet, for example in the rain, its owner immediately runs the risk of getting pneumonia and a whole bunch of dangerous complications. Not in vain, most hypothermia cases in nature occur among lovers of cotton and other natural fabrics. Yes, synthetic or wool feel much less pleasant on the body, but clothes made of these materials are much safer in the wild. So if you're going on a hike or plan to stay in the woods for some time, cotton is not your choice. If a parachute didn't open. What if you decided to jump with a parachute and it didn't open? First, of course, don't panic. Yes, we understand it's rather difficult, but any instructor will agree with us. As soon as you calm down a little, you need to find the problem. Maybe the ropes got entangled and you can solve it on your own. If there seems to be no solution and the land is rapidly approaching, then it's necessary to unhook the main parachute and unfold the emergency parachute. Don't try to do the impossible, because the closer the land is, the less time you have. Of course, it is necessary to practice and open the backup parachute as often as possible, and not in the air but in safer conditions, for example in the training center. Remember that this skill can literally save your life. Nuclear explosion. We hope that none of our viewers will ever have to use this advice, because a nuclear explosion is a terrible thing. Most importantly, what will save you in such an eerie situation is speed. Yes, it's best to run as fast as you can, because it's very difficult to hide from radiation, and no refrigerator will help you. Well, unless you're Indiana Jones, of course. Yes, since the Cold War, many countries have preserved various shelters, but even they don't guarantee complete security. The farther you are from the epicenter of the explosion, the more chances to survive you have. And if you didn't die immediately, then you have a pretty good chance to survive. And don't look at the mushroom. This is fascinating in movies, but in reality, this bright flash can make you lose precious minutes and also your vision. Remember that in the beginning, the radiation will be hanging high in the atmosphere, so you'll have a chance to react quickly and move away from the danger zone. By the way, don't forget about your documents and some other essential stuff, because even during a nuclear apocalypse, you may need to confirm your identity. Dog attack. You should remember, dogs never attack without a reason. That is, the animal won't attack you simply because it wanted to. The reasons for dogs to attack a person are, in fact, not very much. It can be sick, hungry, protecting its offspring, or simply guarding its territory. The most common mistake people make when dealing with an aggressive dog is to show their fear. However, squealing and waving your arms is also not a good idea, because you'll definitely get a couple of bites, even if the dog wasn't going to attack you at all, but just came to say hello. But if the animal running at you growls and its ears are tightly pressed to the head, be ready to repel the attack. Arm yourself with improvised weapons such as a bag, an umbrella, or a stick, and start to retreat slowly. In any case, don't turn your back to the dog and don't run. If you can, you should hit the animal in the most painful points, such as the nose and the stomach. But if there's no chance to win the fight, try to protect your neck. Yes, it may be insulting and very unpleasant if you're bitten on your feet, but damage to the artery is much worse and may even cost you your life. Experienced dog experts also advise to climb on any structure nearby, for example, a tree. And if you have a delicious hamburger in your bag, it's better to share that with the animal. Maybe the food will interest the dog more than you.
Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks, and we'll be right back to you as fast as we can.